So you guys can see everything, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I've taken the sound out, so we're not gonna have any more of those problems. So let me just click off that so we don't have that red line. So I'm just putting in my little line so that I'm composing really to where the part of the paper that will show. And even doing that, I still get stuff too close to the edges. So
I have to learn to do that. I just start painting and I think, oh shit, I am.
yeah, usually I say that a little later in the painting usually, but
Yeah.
um yeah, so I was trying to start with the biggest shapes I could and just dividing things up in a big way and taking control of the whole situation right from the very beginning and not doing anything so specifically that I don't mind erasing it. Although, you know, for these things I don't usually erase things too much, but and I don't mind like putting a line down wrong, that just helps me put it down more correctly. Oh no, I don't have the squiggle right. There we go. Okay, there we go. And I think it's kind of like I kind of feel like at least on this occasion, I was drawing in kind of a deliberate way, but also a pretty relaxed way, not worrying about anything too small. I mean, there's some things like that, you know, that's a really important little thingy up there. So I want to be sure I've got that. And I wanted to be sure I could get that road to go back. And then I did something, you know, Barb, if you could ever, I mean, it's too late now, but I cropped this photo because I did a square demonstration, which I sent you the link to, I think, of for the acrylic, if you wanted to see the acrylic demonstration that I did for my class, my other class. But I cropped the painting to be a square and then I couldn't find it again. And I was really torn about the other sign. I just couldn't, I didn't put it in, but it was, I really questioned whether maybe I should have.
I don't think it's important, the other
Oh, I
side.
don't know. I thought it might have been interesting compositionally. I don't know. And it could have said something like turn back now to go with that the really ominous
Well, if you
trees.
can follow that road around to the other side, then you can look down over a valley and it's lovely.
Mm.
So it doesn't say turn back now. A really good plan is to walk away, you know, between when you finish the drawing and you're ready to start your painting. And I never do, but it's a really good idea because, That is a good idea.
yeah, you can really see some big mistakes if you do that.
If I had done that, Janine, I might have seen that the clouds were too low. So I think after you do the drawing and then you come back to start doing the painting, that's the ideal time to see where the placement of everything is.
Yeah, that's so
Before you
right.
start stressing about color,
Right.
or at least I start stressing about color.
Well, I mean, I do too. I definitely divide. That's why I'm drawing. I wish I could just start with color, but I just need to divide things up into steps. I just can't do it all at once. And this week I tried the new acrylics I bought that are called Open by Golden is the brand. And it's amazing. It's amazing. They don't dry. Like you have time to mix into them and make edges that are soft and stuff. In fact, they kind of stayed wet too long. So now I'm like a whole new world. I have this whole new world now that I'm thinking about.
I wish I could make myself change to some medium that I didn't have to put under glass, but I just love pastels so much. I can't
I
make myself
know.
do it.
I know. I know. I love doing them, but man. Well, I am maybe going to enter this one I just finished in the show at the some gallery down in Newport, Christina and Jeannie. It's having they have some sort of spring show every year. I think I didn't get in it last year, but
You're more experienced now.
I'm more experienced now.
Are you going to show us that one too?
I will, yeah. I did a demo, I used it for a demonstration, but then I went ahead and worked on it after I took after.
Or was that the watercolor of the flowers with the building that some other people just did?
No, that was the no, that was the one I did of the acrylics. That one, that was that demonstration.
Yeah.
But I just did a bouquet of this one. For the one I'm going to enter in the show, I just did a bouquet of one of the pictures I took of my peonies
Oh, nice.
summers ago, I guess. Oh, it just made me so homesick. Homesick for my garden, my beautiful garden, which I just am failing at gardening here so far.
How come?
I don't know. That's the worst problem. I don't know. I mean, you have to water every day here. And
Hmm.
it's like maybe twice a day.
Wow.
Yeah. For the peonies and all, when they're blooming, everything just wilts. The soil is just so bad. And when I transplanted my peonies, I did it everything just right. Okay, so I think I decided I was done with my drawing now. I don't know why I didn't trim out my face there. The what?
Why don't you amend the soil?
I have been.
Oh,
And I built 2 feet deep raised beds.
oh,
Yeah. But I don't know. I could talk to you about it later, Dee Dee. You know the answers to things.
well, only a little.
So I don't know why I decided to start with the cloud, the snow, like the color of the snow and shadow. That's the only thing about this. I did this probably 2 weeks ago now because I keep trying to be ahead so I don't have to be anxious at all. But I think it was that I knew I could cover the paper the fastest with that color, that would be a big area I could just put down and get that red paper covered up. Which makes it sound like I don't like the red paper. I love the red paper, but I think that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is putting this dark blue everywhere at this moment.
I don't
And-
think I could make myself put something that bright on the.
I don't know, your blue is pretty bright on your snow.
Janine, didn't you say that you often use the red paper when there's tons of green in the
Yeah.
subject?
Yeah, I'm out of I'm out of
Oh,
gray paper at this
okay.
moment, but also
But you might normally use a gray for this scene?
I might, but I also like the red coming through. So
Okay.
but I know it sounds really contradictory. I am trying to get it covered because it's so distracting, but I also like it. So it's not a very good answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I debated which one to do, and this time I used the gray.
Oh, for your snow scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are quite a few people here that do a red underpainting and they leave quite a bit of that red showing on the edges of their drawing, and I do really like it. Not that I leave anything, but That's one thing, that whole paper thing, that was more, I was better about that when I worked on Canson because it came in so many colors. And this Pastel Premier is just, it's either the gray or the red, and I don't want to work on the white. So those are my choices.
But there's the light gray and the darker gray.
Oh, really? I didn't even know there was a light gray.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I'm not paying attention. So I do want to just point out, like on the snow, like I used the yellow here for the snow that's closest to me, and then I'm using the pink to try to make that snow go back some. And then I thought this was about the funniest thing I ever did. I haven't showed you this, have I? Where I put the green on here. Like I just like I've got green snow. It's like, what? Anyway,
That's the
there it
funniest
is.
thing you've ever done?
It just about. And what is
Aren't
that?
those the trees?
Oh, maybe they are the trees. Yes, it is the trees. Yes, thank you. Okay, good. Thanks.
Saved.
The
was like-
pink is the snow.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Woohoo.
One row of pink is the snow and the other row of pink is the bottom of the sky.
That's right. Okay, good. I confused myself.
Yeah, and then those mountains are turquoise,
Okay,
pale turquoise.
You need a translator, I guess, huh?
I guess I do. And so I'm just trying to keep the, even though the road, I want to make that road look like it goes away, I also need to make it look like it's a flat surface. I do try to get the whole thing covered pretty much as fast as I can. I don't spend too much time thinking about it. My mind is a blank. Whoops, see how that one stroke made the road run uphill?
Didn't you used to tape yourself talking while you were painting?
I did, but I just I've just been having some trouble, technical difficulties. Also, of course, if I'm not talking while I'm painting, I can paint faster. But I do think it's better. I mean, I did the video I uploaded is the original video from last week. It's the original video I made when I was filming. So I was talking, and I do think I'm better when I'm talking about what I'm doing. Because I don't remember what I'm doing, obviously.
You're talking, the talking part is better when you're actually doing it.
Yeah. think
Yeah.
so.
Probably because you're thinking through it
Yeah.
at the moment.
Well, I can't remember. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I mean, like sitting here watching, I have no idea what's going to happen next. It's a mystery to me.
The suspense.
Suspense. Please fix that. That's mostly what I think. But I think, the drawing was about 10 minutes. I mean, that's pretty fast. I mean, maybe not. I mean, when you're painting outside, when you're really outside, you can't. I mean, I used to spend like an hour drawing those tractors, but usually you don't have to spend forever unless there's something, man-made in your picture. But then I don't see any reason not to just cover it with the first coat of paint as quick as you can, because for one thing, it's stressful to look at a blank piece of paper. And this way you just get that anxiety over with instantly. And almost the worse you make it, the easier it is to make it better. So
That's funny.
I don't worry about it. And I really think that it's like whatever color you start with, you're going to take, that's going to set you on a certain path. And it's not like I'm not sure that one path is superior to another path. It's just a different path. So, so I don't mind that. But it is, I mean, it is a little reckless. I do, I do kind of have to spray them after that first 30 or 45 minutes. For me, there's no choice because I've been a little reckless.
Well, you could probably tell by how realistic, how I paint that I don't paint recklessly when I start.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
But I like how other people are able to have a looser look on their paintings than mine. There's something about my brain that just doesn't know how to do that when I'm working with pastel,
Well,
or probably anything else.
you keep saying that things like that, Barb, but I think what the pushback we give you is that what you do is spectacular, so you don't need to worry about. I
But
don't
I'd
think.
like to be a little looser. I don't know that I worry about it. I just would like to.
As always, the colors are incredible.
Well, I think that was one thing too. All that blue, I knew that then I could make that orange really pop out. And you saw
Yes.
how I did last the thing that was most like the color of the paper. So
Uh-huh.
that's what I always try to do.
That's a good tip.
Yeah. I
Can you
learned
say
it
that?
from,
Can you say that again, Janine?
I do last whatever's most like the paper.
Oh,
Yeah, so if I had red flowers, I wouldn't try to start with the red flowers on this red paper. I'd probably do them last. You know what? I learned it from somebody in my class. They were doing purple onions and they were doing it on that burgundy paper that I used to love so much, that Canson paper.
uh-huh.
And they were trying to paint the onions first on the burgundy paper, and they were those red onions, and they were exactly the color of the paper. And they couldn't do it, and they couldn't do it. And so then it was like, well, why don't you try painting the other stuff around them first and then see how that goes. And the minute they did that, then the burgundy onions were fine. So another way to think of that is that the colors, it's the most off, the paper is the most off for all the other colors I did first. So just leaving the paper for the thing that it's most like for last, that's the most accurate color you actually have there. So you can't really make it more accurate until you've done everything else.
So glad I got my computer fixed. This is so much better than watching it on my iPhone.
We are so glad too. Thank goodness that nice guy helped you.
Oh, I know. And I tried to pay him and he wouldn't let me. He's never done that before, but he spent a whole hour with me.
Yeah, that's a lot of time for a tech guy.
Well, and he understands I have memory problems. So I think that maybe that made a difference. I don't know. Maybe he felt sorry for me. I don't know.
Maybe it's just nice.
He is very nice.
Does he
So
work for
then-
a company in St. J?
He's self-employed
Ah,
in Lindenville.
oh,
Lindenville's only about
yeah, I
12
know,
minutes from me.
but
So then after sort of the wild start, I try to make things more accurate. But I guess, but my hope is that starting in a bold way helps me stay bold, because whereas if, that's one thing too, if you start, well, it must be a little nerve-wracking to start really well. To do a really good start. And then no wonder people worry about making it worse. See, like I don't worry about that, at least not yet, because it's so out there. There's nowhere to go but up. And I've really been thinking a lot while I'm working about trying to make things recede and try to create distance. So I've been focused on that a little more than normal.
So I have a
So
question.
will you mention that when you're doing this? Will you say, this is how I made it go back, or this is?
Yeah, well, this is how I'm making the top row of clouds come forward. I'm making them stronger and darker and redder, hotter and darker. For instance. Yeah, Fran?
No, that's a distracting question. We'll look at the sky for now.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe, I don't know if I really thought about this, but I'm just thinking about it right this minute, about like having your strokes being bigger in areas that are closer to you and smaller than as things get further away. And I'm not really sure I thought about that until just this minute. I really don't think that much when I'm painting. I mean, you guys might want to try filming yourself. This is just these are done with my iPhone. I think I've about decided that's the best, better than the Canon, better than the iPad, or at least as good as the iPad.
so when you're working on the clouds like that, are you looking back and forth to the
Yeah.
photo? Or you are?
I'm trying to make those like this. This right here is this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am looking back and forth quite a bit. I mean, I think things start to go wrong for me if I quit looking. I get anxious or something about an area and I just start looking at the painting too much instead of at what I'm painting. So when things aren't going well, that would be a really big recommendation I would have, is to try to get back to look more at the actual thing you're painting. I'm gonna just send that photograph to myself that I took yesterday. And then I can show it to you at the end of class by the George Ennis painting. You guys, we could meet up in Boston sometime at the art museum. Wouldn't that be fun?
Mm.
It would.
Didn't you do that one time? Didn't you take a trip with a whole bunch of people from
I
here?
did. It was really fun too.
I was
I
working.
can't remember what thing we went to see, but there was the Mary Cassatt show. I know I went to that at least twice, and it might have been one time with, it was Athenia and Leslie, and I can't remember who else. And we it was pouring down rain and we took the wrong road for a while toward Portland.
Oh.
The Whaling Museum, I couldn't believe what a good art show they had there. I mean, The show was great, the Hudson River School, and they had all these sketch pads of the artists, and man, those people were good. Their pencil drawings and their sketch pads and their watercolors. I wish I could have seen just every page of the sketch pads, but
Maybe you can make an appointment to go back.
I wonder if you could. That would be cool. You can't, just their drawings were just so good. And I think, you know, all the time I'm trying to make my strokes kind of go with the with what I'm painting. So it's a little bit drawing all the time. Strokes.
When I was in college taking drawing classes, we, at some point in some class, we used to just draw from master painters' drawings, like Rembrandt drawings are amazing to draw from, or
Yeah.
just a bunch of people. It was really fun.
I used to make my students in high school do that, you know. I think it's really helpful. I mean, Rembrandt, his gesture drawings are amazing. You can learn a ton from
Yeah.
of how to do that from his work. How he can, every line he makes has so much, carries so much information. So I
Mhm.
think to me, that's the goal all the time, is that every line I make would carry every stroke, every color, everything does more than one thing for you. So it's not just a line, but it's a line that leads your eye, or it's a line that shows the weight of something, or it's a color that leads you into the distance. It's not that I think that the better you are, like, so Rembrandt, like, it's like, yeah, it's like, it is just like a language that so much information carried on a simple line. Like, I'm thinking the one I always think of is the woman carrying the baby and the weight of it. I'll look that drawing up and show you. Also, I was trying to decide if you guys would want me to try to was thinking about drawing the sculpture that Dee Dee painted,
Mm.
just to kind of show you how I would do that. I just have to get a big pad of paper to do it.
Speaking of lines, look at that line that you did a few minutes ago, that light blue line on the left side that comes down that bank.
Yeah,
That's phenomenal.
thanks. Those were important to me, even though they're kind of detaily, because they show so much the slope of the land.
Yeah.
And like all these little squiggles I'm doing right there, like how to, so for me, it's like how to do that with the, I mean, I can't do it perfect. I don't know. I can't, I mean, Barb complains about the things she can't do, and I can't do the things she does so well. So I'm just trying to figure out always, how can I make it look like I did more work than I really did? If I can
That's funny.
put in a few little places that kind of tell the story, and then have the rest of it just be a suggestion.
I think it was so shocking for me that you started with yellow, because I think of that as a cold winter day. And you started with yellow, and now it's looking like it makes a lot more sense, but it was a little shocking.
Good. I like to shock people. Well, it's the color of sunshine, you know, and not to just try not to just have a formula that I'm always going to start my snow yellow. One thing I just loved about y'all's work of snow is how many great colors you get in the snow in your paintings. Every single one of you tonight that had snow. What's really fun about white stuff is you can really see the color of the light on the white. And that's really what I think of myself as painting, is the color of the light, not just the color, not the color that it is, but the color of the light on whatever I'm painting. That's the more impressionist sort of
viewpoint that you're painting the effect of the light on the color. And so that thing of starting that snow in the foreground so yellow, that allows me to have a little bit cooler snow in the background. I mean, I think it's pretty cool actually back there in that field. It's probably, I probably don't even have it cool enough yet.
Is that gray you're using there, do you think?
No, I think it's green in the trees right there.
Yeah.
It was green. And then I was thinking, oh, I need to try to get more snow showing through those trees down there. They're not as thick. But now I've got snow going up all the way up in the sky right here. So then I think at some point I do realize that can't happen. I've got my
That's
mountain
funny.
there going.
I love your style, Janine.
Oh, thanks. I love the way my hair is in focus now. My line is not. Well, I thought I couldn't decide if I had the sign too small or, so I kind of needed to put in that post just to kind of get an idea if it was in the right place. And
It's hard to decide because it has that big thing behind it.
no, and I didn't want to do that big thing.
Right, no, it makes total sense, but it makes it feel, and when you look at the photo, like the sign's much bigger than it really is.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the end of the first day.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
and I don't know why that looks so much darker like that. I mean, that's taken with the same camera at the same moment, right there at the end. This is George Ennis, who a lot of times I mention that he's the guy that does such a great job of lighting up something in the distance, but it's still keeping its place in the distance. Oh, Fran just sent me the squiggles. Okay.
No worries.
So when I was looking at this painting in real life, I was like, okay, here's this little white dot here of his shirt right in the middle of the page. But I was comparing this white of the building to the white on their shirts and how this is what I think happens is that your eye travels back along that line and then back up to here and then back up into here. And then you kind of, you come back down again. He doesn't just leave you hanging. I feel like you zigzag back up into the painting and then come back. This catches your eye again and brings you back down. So that thing that you can have, if you kind of cover up those little guys in the foreground, then you might think this white is super bright, but it's not when you see those little guys. And the light on the fields, how it's diminishing as it goes back. So.
What's the title? Do you know?
No, I'm sorry, I don't. I didn't take. That was the only thing about this show. But if you look at a lot of his paintings, he does this in a lot of his works. So
What's that thing in front of the pile of hay?
this little person or something.
Is that a
sitting there?
person?
That's what I
was
thought.
thinking
Maybe
it was, yeah.
Yeah, and a little red shirt. I mean, that's another trick, is to use like a little warm color like that to make everything else makes your greens look greener. A little warmth right there too.
Yeah.
So if you look at Corot, every Corot painting he ever did has got somebody in a little red hat.
Who's that?
Corot,